this video, I am up in Cumbria in the north of England, visiting Halecat Nursery. This nursery is run by Abby and Tom Attwood. We helped mentor them at the start of their nursery journey, including donating one of our old polytunnels to Halecat. I'm Rosy Hardy, this is Rosy Hardy Gardening. Now let's have a nosy on around this lovely nursery. Tom and Abby at Halecat Nurseries have got a fantastic place, and basically they have ended up with one of our tunnels which has been here how long now?
We put this up in 2009, on a very, very wet November weekend when Rob came up and we were digging holes for the posts and they were filling with water, and it was, yeah, interesting exercise, but this it's been a godsend, this tunnel.
Yeah.
It's like the centre of our little universe, really, where so much starts off, and yeah, it's
well, it looks really full. I mean, there are these fabulous plants all over the place, and it's incredible what you've managed to achieve here, because from the point of view that and we will go outside and see other bits and pieces as well, but you've got all these wonderful beds out there and it's all on different levels. You've got gardens and you know you've worked really hard.
Yeah, I mean it's been well over a decade of trying to feel our way almost and work out what we wanted to do, but from the very moment we started, the goal really was to create almost a garden blended with a nursery, or the other way around, so that as you're walking around in the more public areas, it feels like at times like you're in someone's garden, but equally then you're in a sort of a nursery with the plants reflecting each of the different spaces, but also fundamentally making it work as a business, you know.
Well, it makes it something that is unique, doesn't it? Because you have created a space which people want to come and be in, and then they spend time there, rather than say a garden centre where it's all these huge big displays.
Yeah, absolutely. I always sort of think of ourselves almost like an artisan cheesemaker almost, or so, you know, something slightly more. I don't like to use the word specialist too much, because that suggests you're only wanting to focus on like the real sort of plant, you know, experts out there. It's just to create something that is eclectic and a bit more, I think, hopefully more interesting, but representing in a way that people can just be inspired by and you know, see new things.
Yeah, oh absolutely, and I think it looks wonderful, and I know we're up visiting you, and it's just after Christmas, so it's a really dismal time for anyone who's got herbaceous perennials, or as in the usual weather that we've got up here. And you know, you have to believe that all these plants, I mean the epimediums are looking wonderful with all their leaf and everything else, but then you've got all the other plants looking either sad or there's nothing there, and you've got pots of potential, and you have to believe that it's going to carry on. But what is so fascinating is, you know, this tunnel has kept going. We used it for 10-15 years. You've now had it for nearly that length of time. Okay, it's had different coverings, but it just shows that we all reuse and have always reused stuff. So when everyone says, oh, we should reuse and not, you know, sort of throw things away, we've always done that in the horticultural industry.
Yeah. You're always looking at structures and thinking how we can use that differently, or because it is so, we were just saying just now how important, particularly in the winter time, covered space is. And so no matter what that structure is that you're using, it's invaluable. And so for us, this, you know, in the winter, I was described it as our sort of our magic umbrella that helps keep the rain off. But in the summer, equally, it just adds that slightly more, there's slightly warmer temperatures that helps nudge things along earlier in the year. So it's a really valuable space for us.
Huge big bit of space. Okay, well let's head outside and have a look at the other areas.
Yeah, love to.
Okay, so we're now into the areas where we were talking about before, where you've got what looks like garden areas, and then people can walk through and go over. They can see the tunnels as well, so they know there's a nursery behind here.
Yeah.
And you've got interesting things. So it's showing people that narrow borders can be filled with plants quite full.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that's also one of the things I'm conscious of, is that a lot of people don't have big sizable garden spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all about sort of giving people ideas, sort of satisfying our own desires as gardeners to create interesting spaces.
Yeah, and what I love is the fact that you've got the red shed, so if anybody's out in the far end there, they can always see the red shed.
That's our reference point.
Which is brilliant. And and you were saying to me earlier that a lot of these trees and especially all of this hedging is you've put it in.
Yeah, it all went in 10 years ago. So the yew went in as sort of knee-high,
right,
small sections, and some of these like ornamental trees were pretty young when they went in, and I think that's where a lot of the satisfaction comes of being somewhere long enough that you can start to see the bones and the framework of the garden.
This is that this time of year everyone goes, oh, but looking in your garden there's nothing you can see. But if you have put the structures in, you've got the bones looking correct, then you have interest there nearly all of the time.
Yeah, which is something that in the early days when we took this place on, you just had to use your imagination, hope, project your mind forward 10 years, because it was a lot of it was raw, because it was like a sort of a semi-lunar landscape where we just reduced everything to the ground. But now you have got that you often hear about rooms in gardens.
Yeah,
don't you?
you do, yes.
And I think that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is just break up the space so that it's it just creates these. It's almost like moments of us, of escape as you're walking around. So that's a different space, that's a different, each with their own sort of different identity.
Yeah, and it then means with the lovely raised beds that you've got for the sales area pieces, you can dress that in a different way depending on what you've got planted in the beds around.
Yeah, and it's quite nice because when the whole site is in when everything's in full swing in sort of spring and summer, with the plants on the beds, they look great, and then it's sort of it's a gentle sort of nod to what's going on in the borders. We don't sort of have exactly the same plants reflected in the bed that's growing as opposed for sale, but there's a lot of overlap between them all.
And you are lucky with the site that it's south facing, so that must make a big difference.
It does make a massive difference. I mean, this whole area immediate around here is like a natural bowl, and so it does when it is warm, it's quite something. The flip side is in the winter it's a classic frost pocket because the ground slopes, so where in fact the polytunnels are, boy, it gets cold in there because it just doesn't get the sun. But
I think that's the thing. But also the beauty is you have got some evergreens around, and you've got some mature trees around the whole thing as well. So you feel as though you're coming into an Eden when you're coming into here.
The whole thing is like sort of hugged by this beautiful woodland, which is a mixture of a lot of yew, and then it's hazel, birch, and ash in various states of demise from the ash dieback. But you do feel like it's this. It's like a bubble.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think it's fabulous. And as I say, first time up here, and I don't know why I've never come up before. So it's brilliant.
You're very busy, Rosy.
Well, that does tend to be the fact, doesn't it? But it's lovely, and I think it's brilliant what you've been able to achieve.
I'm really chuffed you could see it.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Okay, well, thank you very much for looking, and please do subscribe to the channel.